The most insidious threat to your authority isn't some external foe. It's the tumult of your own internal world, your yearning for affection, your dread of solitude, your desperate need for validation. These are not virtues, but rather the invisible manacles that bind you. Machiavelli grasped this profound truth. His writings were not crafted for the tender-hearted, but for the strategists, the survivors, the predators of power. He cautioned that those who succumb to excessive feeling are inevitably the first to fall. The world, you will discover, offers no recompense for your loyalty, your vulnerability, or your capacity for love. Instead, it will ruthlessly exploit them. Faces beam with feigned sincerity, even as lies are spun. Embraces conceal the glint of a freshly sharpened blade. The instant they discern your genuine care, they possess a crucial lever over you. Yet, there exists a path to liberation. Cultivate emotional, psychological, complete detachment. This isn't born of misanthropy, but from a profound love for your own agency. For true survival demands crystal clear perception, not the clouded lens of compassion. In this video, we will delve into Machiavelli's most chilling insight: how to systematically disengage from the emotions that render you weak, enabling you to govern with an intellect none can decipher and a spirit none can penetrate. The universal human desire for love, understanding, and acceptance is precisely why the majority remain disempowered. Machiavelli articulated one stark reality. Emotions expose your frailties. The more intensely you feel, the wider your vulnerabilities are laid bare. The more deeply you care, the greater the control others exert over you. He famously noted, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." And the fool, in his observation, is the one who surrenders his heart before fortifying his position. Within Machiavellian doctrine, emotions are not trusted guides, they are potent instruments. You may wield them, but you must never, ever, be governed by them. Emotional disengagement is not synonymous with internal barrenness. It is the art of self-preservation in an arena designed to consume the unsuspecting. To detach means to command. When you operate from a place of detachment, you become impervious to manipulation, immune to provocation, and proof against emotional blackmail. Your silence transforms into an unbreachable barrier, your stillness into a strategic weapon. The moment your emotions become paramount, you become transparent. Predictable individuals are effortlessly targeted. Their weaknesses are consistently broadcast through their tone, their expressions, their palpable fear of loss. Machiavelli witnessed this firsthand in the Florentine courts. Princes swayed by sentiment were consistently outmaneuvered by adversaries who operated with colder, more calculated precision. A ruler whose affections ran too deep would pardon enemies, only to face their renewed treachery. A general who prioritized the safety of his troops above all else would falter, and that hesitation would seal his campaign's defeat. Emotional investment, whether in individuals, influence, or personal pride, was always a critical liability. This is why Machiavelli lauded Cesare Borgia, a figure who displayed no leniency toward former allies turned threats. He did not mourn betrayal, he eradicated it. This is not cruelty, it is consummate control. Emotional detachment grants you the resolve to execute necessary actions without the debilitating indecision that consistently undoes leaders. Society often indoctrinates us to believe that kindness equates to strength, that vulnerability is a mark of beauty. This is a deliberate falsehood, propagated to maintain your docility. In truth, every enduring empire was forged by those who rigorously controlled their own emotional landscape and skillfully repurposed the emotions of others as leverage. Reflect upon every betrayal you have endured, every deception, every manipulation, every wound to the heart. What enabled these acts? Your excessive emotional investment, your expectation of unwavering loyalty, your profound attachment. And once perceived, these became the very strings by which you were played. Emotional detachment is not the absence of feeling. It is the mastery of reaction. It is observing your own emotions as potential weapons, not inherent vulnerabilities. A Machiavellian mind can experience fury, desire, or anguish, but it categorically refuses to permit these emotions to dictate its actions. Because the instant someone can forecast your behavior when under emotional duress, you have ceded control. This is precisely why Machiavelli's teachings transcend the scope of the average individual. They are for those who aspire to first command themselves and subsequently all else. If your aspiration is tranquility, remain emotionally invested. If your aspiration is power, cultivate detachment. When proximity is sought by others, pose critical questions. Is their allegiance genuine, or is their value merely transactional? Would their respect endure if you withheld all affection, affirmation, or attention? If not, they are not an ally. They are a latent threat. Detachment also illuminates reality. By extricating emotion, you begin to perceive individuals as they truly are, rather than through the idealized lens of your desires. You discern recurring patterns. The friend, whose calls are exclusively requests. The lover, who withdraws the moment your generosity wanes. The family member, who wields guilt as an instrument of command. All rely on your emotional responses to function, disengage, and observe their true selves emerge. In the realm of detachment, your time is reclaimed. Your energy reserves replenish. Your focus sharpens into an acute point. You transition from reacting to acting. This embodies Machiavelli's counsel: a prince must learn to embody both the lion's might and the fox's cunning. The lion does not shed tears, the fox does not erupt in anger. Both achieve victory because they understand the optimal moment to strike, and they never permit emotion to prematurely announce their strategy. Thus, if you seek emancipation from betrayal, manipulation, and vulnerability, commence with this foundational step. Extirpate your reliance on emotional validation. Invest your care strategically, not sentimentally. The majority of humanity is captivated by illusions, particularly the illusion of enduring affection and unwavering loyalty. They cling to the notion that certain individuals are fundamentally different, that certain bonds possess a sacred quality. Yet, Machiavelli issued a stern warning: there exists no such thing as perpetual loyalty, only an ever-shifting confluence of interests. Individuals remain loyal only as long as it serves their advantage. They profess love when you fulfill their needs. But the instant their interests diverge, so too does their allegiance. This is not malevolence, it is the immutable law of nature. And those who refuse to acknowledge this truth are destined to be undone by it. The individual who subscribes to unconditional loyalty inadvertently bestows power upon those who will inevitably wield it against them. The ruler whose love for his populace overshadows his vigilance against betrayal is already meticulously excavating his own downfall. Machiavelli understood that power necessitates a calculated distance. He advised princes to project an image of clemency while maintaining an inner core of unyielding ruthlessness. To radiate concern, yet never become emotionally entangled, for such ties invariably cloud judgment. They induce hesitation when decisive action is imperative. They compel forgiveness when severance is the only logical recourse, and most perilously, they render you dependent upon individuals you can never truly control. Love, in its unadulterated form, is chaos. Unpredictable, blinding, often destructive. And in the intricate arenas of politics, power, and survival, chaos is a harbinger of ruin. Emotional detachment is not an act of cruelty. It is the ultimate clarity. It empowers you to perceive individuals not as you wish them to be, but with an unvarnished realism. You begin to observe rather than idealize. You begin to calculate rather than hope. When confronted with betrayal, you are not surprised. You are simply prepared. You anticipated it. You understood their loyalty was conditional. This is the profound power of detachment. It liberates you to act without the debilitating interference of illusion. It safeguards you from manipulation cloaked as affection. Those who vociferously preach loyalty are often the first to abandon ship when tested. Those who invoke familial bonds are sometimes the quickest to twist the knife when your fortunes decline. Emotional detachment does not equate to isolation. It signifies a deliberate choice regarding where and how much of your precious energy is invested. It means your emotions are sovereign. No one else dictates your internal peace. You are free to interact, collaborate, and even love, but always from a position of measured control, never from a posture of desperation. A Machiavellian mind grasps this unequivocally. Relationships are strategic. Every connection either bolsters your position or erodes it. There is no neutral ground. Therefore, interrogate each interaction. Is this individual sharpening your edge or dulling it? Are they truly loyal or merely tethered to the advantages you provide? Detachment empowers you to conduct this crucial assessment without fear. For when you are detached, the fear of loss dissipates. And when the fear of loss is absent, you become untouchable. This is not a mindset for the sentimental soul. It is for the potent, the dispassionate, the relentlessly focused. Emotional detachment bestows upon you an insurmountable advantage in every negotiation, every betrayal, every crisis, because you enter the fray fully prepared for the possibility of loss, and that very preparedness is precisely why you ultimately triumph. You're unlocking the profound secrets of emotional sovereignty. Each insight is a step toward true command. Emotional detachment is not a mere switch. It is a weapon that demands relentless honing through consistent practice. You were not conditioned for detachment. You were molded to please, to bond, to feel guilt when your emotional investment was perceived as insufficient. To embrace detachment, you must consciously dismantle these ingrained weaknesses and reconstruct your mental framework from its very foundations. The initial step lies in setting precise expectations. Anticipate betrayal. Expect disappointment. Foresee selfishness. This is not pessimism, but strategic preparation. When you no longer presume unwavering loyalty, their disloyalty ceases to destabilize you. When you assume nothing, you suffer less. Machiavelli firmly believed that human beings are fundamentally driven by their self-interest, not by abstract morals or fleeting sentiment. Internalize this truth and you cease to ask, "Why did they do this to me?" The answer invariably remains, it served their purpose. The second step is the cultivation of internal control. Master your reactions. When anger stirs, pause. When love blossoms, rigorously test its foundations. When pain manifests, observe it dispassionately. The objective is not to eradicate emotion, but to command it before it commands you. For once others discern your emotional triggers, they will relentlessly exploit them to assert their power. Cultivate the habit of pausing before reacting. Within that crucial pause, detachment finds its dwelling, and power steadily accrues. The third step is controlled exposure. Do not isolate yourself. Rather, dominate your interactions. Engage with individuals, but always on your meticulously defined terms. Offer affection, but never surrender your dependency. Articulate less than you genuinely feel. Never permit anyone to gauge the true extent of their significance to you. The more inscrutable you remain, the more they will dread your inner thoughts. And if they cannot decipher you, they cannot wield you. This is not an exercise in cruelty. It is the forging of invincibility. For when you achieve emotional self-sufficiency, no one can hold you captive with guilt, rejection, or even love. You are liberated from their need for approval. You are untouched by their craving for attention. You remain unperturbed when they withdraw, and unyielding when they return, because your inner peace is emphatically not entrusted to their capricious hands. Machiavelli would term this the armor of the mind. A prince must possess the fortitude to stand alone, to render decisions unclouded by emotional interference, to sever ties with allies and lovers without a moment's hesitation. This is not heartlessness, it is supreme self-discipline, for in the high-stakes game of power, Those who hesitate forfeit everything. And the emotionally detached individual never hesitates. He anticipates the trap before stepping into it. He discerns the hidden agenda behind the welcoming smile. He possesses the unparalleled freedom to disengage from anyone, at any juncture, without explanation. This is what renders him truly untouchable. You cultivate detachment like a finely tuned muscle. Through strategic silence, deliberate space, and meticulous selection, refrain from responding to every message. Decline to explain your periods of silence. Deny them the fleeting satisfaction of eliciting your reaction. The more they speculate about your inner state, the more profoundly you command the dynamic. People inherently respect what they cannot fully comprehend. Embrace unpredictability, maintain emotional silence, and observe how swiftly the external world's power over you dissipates. There arrives a critical juncture where silence far eclipses the potency of speech, where your capacity to detach from prevailing chaos becomes your most formidable instrument of control. Emotional detachment is not merely a method, it is a profound metamorphosis. Once mastered, you cease to react to others, you begin to guide them. You no longer chase elusive closure, you offer no explanations for your distance, you make no effort to rectify their misperceptions of you. Why? Because none of it holds any intrinsic value. The moment you become genuinely detached, their games lose all efficacy. Their manipulation encounters an impenetrable barrier. Their approval is stripped of all power. This is the truth Machiavelli understood better than any other. The majority of individuals are enslaved by an internal desperation. They dread solitude, fear misunderstanding, or yearn to be loved. Consequently, they over-explain, over-feel, over-commit. And as a direct consequence, they are controlled. But the truly emotionally detached individual enters every interaction with a calm demeanor, a quiet presence, and an unmistakable clarity. They harbor no desire to be liked. They remain impervious to gossip. They do not flinch when others depart. They operate from a position of inherent power, never from a perceived lack. And that, in any human interaction, instills a deep-seated apprehension in those who seek to control you. You see, when genuine detachment takes root, a cold yet profoundly liberating realization dawns. Individuals only matter to the precise extent you permit them to. Their importance is not an objective constant, it is a value you assign, and you retain the absolute right to withdraw that assignment at any given moment. You transcend the need for anyone, you choose them, and this fundamental shift instantly alters the entire dynamic. Now you possess no fear of walking away. You are no longer tethered to external validation. You are not pursuing peace from external sources. You become the singular wellspring of your own equilibrium, and this renders you utterly unshakable. You become the one individual in every room who cannot be baited, cannot be guilted, cannot be pressured into submission. The world perceives this. Others may not fully comprehend it, but they undeniably feel it. Your emotional detachment functions like a mirror. It starkly reflects back the inner chaos of others, and they will either respect you profoundly or fear you for it. They will test your boundaries. They will attempt to reel you in. They will prod, provoke, and push. But when you remain utterly still, when you refuse to react, they inevitably stumble into their own snares. For power does not erupt explosively. It strategically withholds, it patiently waits, it asserts control through calculated absence. This degree of detachment is exceedingly rare because it is painstakingly earned. It is forged in the crucible of silence over extended periods, in those difficult moments where you refuse to beg, refuse to explain, refuse to grant someone emotional dominion over you. Even when the discomfort was profound, you consciously chose to endure it rather than capitulate to the familiar. And with each such choice, your mind became colder, sharper, more sovereign. Eventually, you evolve into what Machiavelli would identify as a true ruler of the self, Your emotions become subservient to you, not to others. Your anger transforms into potent fuel. Your sadness transmutes into profound insight. Your love becomes exquisitely selective. You yield nothing to those who have not unequivocally demonstrated their worth. And you reclaim everything from the unbearable silence they cannot tolerate. This is not emptiness, this is absolute power. It is the capacity to feel every nuance, yet betray nothing. To care deeply, yet never permit it to cloud your judgment. Imagine the sheer invincibility you attain, when no one can manipulate you through guilt, seduction, or shame. When you can effortlessly disengage from a toxic individual mid-sentence and feel nothing. When betrayal no longer elicits surprise, but merely confirms your astute expectations. When love, rather than blinding you, sharpens your every instinct. That is the moment you become truly untouchable, not because you have erected formidable walls, but because you have mastered the very gate itself. And now, they cannot reach you. The deceivers, the manipulators, the exploiters, they may knock. But no one answers. You deny them the theatrical performance they crave. You offer neither a dramatic farewell nor a desperate return. You simply vanish. You observe. You ascend. Therefore, remember this immutable truth. Emotional detachment is not a weakness. It is the ultimate evolutionary stage of power. The quiet, unyielding strength that differentiates kings from pawns. The strategic coldness that shields you from the predations of emotional manipulators. And the singular mindset that guarantees no one, absolutely no one, can ever truly own you again. Detachment is not merely a defensive posture. It is a potent, offensive weapon. Once you have truly mastered it, you transcend mere self-protection. You begin to exert control over others. The majority of people are enslaved by their emotions. They react impulsively when ignored, panic when rejected, and relentlessly pursue what withdraws from them. A Machiavellian mind leverages this inherent human tendency to dominate silently by maintaining a state of emotional unavailability. You deliberately cultivate uncertainty, and uncertainty is the fertile ground from which obsession grows. When individuals cannot predict your emotional state, they redouble their efforts to earn it. This is the essence of power. Display less emotion than others anticipate. Respond with greater deliberation than they desire. Communicate with a colder tenor than they are accustomed to. This creates an imbalance, and within that imbalance, you seize control. Emotional distance becomes your most potent leverage. They will open themselves, hoping you will reciprocate their vulnerability. But you do not. You observe, you listen, you calculate. They shed tears. You remain a dispassionate observer. They plead. You remain perfectly still. For the moment they realize you possess no emotional need for them, they will begin to chase that silence. This is how power fundamentally shifts. It is not predicated on loudness, aggression, or overt emotional display. It is rooted in being utterly unmoved. Your calculated coldness becomes a mirror. It starkly reflects their own profound neediness back to them. And in their desperate attempts to draw you closer, they inadvertently reveal their every vulnerability. Machiavelli cautioned rulers never to permit themselves to be truly known. Cultivate an appearance of compassion, yes, but meticulously conceal your true inner workings. Emotional mystery is a powerful form of dominance. People may place their trust in those who appear transparent, but they will obey those who remain inscrutable. When you maintain emotional silence, others will inevitably fill the void with their own hopes, fears, and projections. They will begin to serve you, pursue you, dread your absence. Because they cannot fathom the true implications of losing you, only that the prospect feels unbearable. This silence, this cultivated detachment, also serves as a critical test. Observe how individuals behave when you consciously withdraw your attention. Who continues to respect you when your emotional availability is no longer guaranteed? Who devolves into hostility? when they can no longer manipulate your heart, their reactions will unequivocally reveal their true role in your life, and whether they are genuine allies or mere parasites. Detachment exposes the loyal from the opportunistic. It distinguishes those who respect your intellect from those who merely desired your emotions. However, to fully weaponize detachment, you must abandon the quest for resolution. Most people are addicted to closure. They crave explanation, understanding, justification. This is a profound weakness. Never stoop to beg for understanding. Never attempt to mend what should be definitively abandoned. If someone disrespects your established standards, detach and disappear. No prior warning. No apologetic explanation. Your silence itself is the punishment. Your absence is the definitive answer. When you can disengage with zero emotional residue, you finally achieve control, not over them, but over yourself. This is the very bedrock of Machiavellian power. You harbor no need for revenge. You require no confrontation. Your utter indifference becomes the most potent lesson. Individuals will perpetually attempt to draw you back into emotional skirmishes, but once they realize you have unequivocally closed the door, with no reaction, no lingering resentment, no possibility of return, they will lose interest. They will move on, and you will remain utterly untouched. This is not merely strength. It is sophisticated psychological warfare. You do not scream. You vanish, and your silence reverberates with far greater impact than any words ever could. If this resonated with the part of you that is weary of being exploited, manipulated, or controlled, then you are already firmly on the correct trajectory. Like this video to signify your profound transformation. Subscribe if you are ready to master the mindset of those who rule in profound silence. Because from this precise moment forward, your emotions are exclusively yours, and no one, absolutely no one, will ever again be permitted to weaponize them against you.